Hi, this is Joe with Prep Agent. I'm here with my new friend Colleen. How's it going, Colleen?
Good.
So we're going to review some words, talk about some concepts. I've done this keyword outline thing before with other people. Have you seen it before in any of my webinars?
Yes, several.
Okay, so I've done this before, and just so everybody knows, this is available on my website, prepagent.com, for those who want to download this. And also be sure to subscribe so that you can see more videos of this nature. So what we're basically going to do is I'm going to pick keywords and use them as launching pads to talk about more concepts. I know your test is tomorrow, but obviously we're not going to be able to go over everything. But maybe let's treat this as a nice like pre-game warm-up for tomorrow to kind of really feel good and kind of brush over some concepts. What do you think?
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right, ready to go. Okay, so let's start with
Ready.
this. So you asked me about appraisal today. I said we'll go over everything. And you said, how about we start out with appraisal? So I'm going to start
Mhm.
you off our conversation today with the most basic appraisal of all. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
The market
Ready.
data approach. What's that all about?
That's when you're comparing to other homes in the area based on different things,
Right?
the value and how the economy is doing.
Okay. Okay, so what if you had to pick two or three keywords to help define that? What would you do?
Uh,
And why do I say pick two or three words? What do you think?
Help remember it easier,
Right. So
for
let's
sure.
go with comparing like properties.
Okay.
Okay. Market data
Okay.
comparison approach. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Who uses this approach?
Real estate agents and appraisers.
Good. Okay. And honestly, also your everyday person. Do you own a house or do you rent
Mhm.
right now?
Rent.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to tell me the truth. How much do you pay in rent?
Too much. 2,000
Okay, two
a
thousand
month.
dollars a month. How did
Mm-hmm.
you know you were getting a good deal or bad deal? So when he said $2,000 a month, you may think it's a lot, but obviously you said to yourself, this is a lot of money, but it's appropriate for the area. So you said to your
Right.
husband, honey, this is what we got to pay. Why? Because if we were
Right.
in Alabama, you would have said, that's crazy. For some reason, you
Exactly.
said, this is normal in my area.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because we compared like properties and knew what the area was like.
Are you saying you did the market data comparison approach?
Yes.
Yes, that's what you did. So you do it for rentals as well. Okay. Because
Okay.
you said, it's $2,000. This is crazy. And you said to your husband, I don't know if we can afford this. Let's find something else. And you started looking at other properties and you said, dear, they're all around this price. Based upon properties of like kind, similar properties, this is just what is standard for the area. And that's the
Hmm.
market data comparison approach. You're comparing like
Hmm.
properties. Okay.
Hmm.
So my point
Okay.
is, this is what your average person uses every day. It's the easiest, most simple one to do. Okay.
Okay.
As opposed to the cost replacement approach. So, what type of property are we using for this approach?
Isn't that when the property is like, done for? So or you're trying to see what it would be to build the exact same type of property
Why would you want to do that?
to see what like the value in building materials costs or what the value of other houses that are newly built in the area, what those cost.
Describe the property that you would need to do that. As you said, for your house you live in right now, if you wanted to buy it, you said, I'm done renting, let's buy it, you wouldn't say, how much would it cost to build this brand new, right? That's not what you would say to find your price, would you?
No.
So then what type of property, because you're right in your description of this, but I guess I'm asking, so what type of property would you have to say, how much would it cost to build this brand new?
Uh, I guess I'm not understanding. A house?
So let me rephrase this, phrase it in a different way for you. What type of property would the comparison approach not work for, would not be applicable?
I guess, homes, residential homes.
Nope, that one you can use comparable properties. Think again.
Right.
Do you like books?
Sure. Sometimes
Where do you go to get books?
the
The what?
new construction or service buildings.
Okay, we're getting closer. Good, 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 good.
Okay.
So what I was getting at is a library.
Okay.
Okay. What about a police station, right? Or
Okay.
a school?
Okay.
And we could go on. But what type of properties am I getting at here?
That they're all like some sort of service building, special.
Properties. Okay, these are special purpose properties. Now, going back to my original question I asked you, I said, what type of properties can we not use the market data comparison approach for? And here we have libraries, police stations, schools. Why can't we use the comparison approach for this? Why can't you use a comparison approach for a library or a school or a police station? What do these properties have in common?
They're governmental.
Nope. Well, they are, but that's not what I was getting at. How many libraries are in
Because
your
they're
town?
different. Um, two or three in the
Okay, so is
area.
there enough to compare them to another property? No.
No.
Most towns only have one library per town. And I guess my
Okay.
point is,
Right.
with stuff like libraries and schools, you don't have comparables because towns by design
Mhm.
have a certain amount of libraries. Usually the community library, the community police station, the community firehouse. Okay?
Mhm.
And these properties are not designed to make money either. So you can't use things like income approach or gross rent multiplier. So they don't make money. There's no comparisons. So now you got to circle back to what's left. And what'd you say is the cost replacement approach?
Substitute a new property.
Right now you have to say, okay, there's no income. I can't base it upon that. There's no comparisons. So how much would it cost to build this thing brand new? Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's the cost replacement approach. And for your exam, really want you to remember this word, special purpose properties. Can you do that for me?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so you have the special purpose property, right? And
Uh-huh.
tell me again what the cost replacement approach is. You said it very well many times already.
Um, it's the cost to replace an existing property, what that would cost to replicate it.
Okay, so then what's the flaw of this method?
That we may not know the exact cost. Like, how do you figure out the
Well, you said to me before, the cost to replace it brand new,
mm,
correct?
correct?
When was the last time you seen a brand new library?
I'm not sure.
Not often. By nature, they're
Hmm.
usually pretty old and very often historical parts of the town. So the
Right.
problem with this approach is buildings aren't new, especially these types of buildings. So it's
Hmm.
flawed because you're basing it on the idea that it's new, but very often they're old. These are old buildings. So that approach is pretty flawed. And that's why this approach is really a last resort approach to finding the value of the
Okay.
property. Okay? So if you had a building that was built in 1910 and you're using the new methods of how to rebuild it, it's kind of hard to assess. Okay, so this approach works better for new buildings, not old ones. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Because you can't
Totally.
really exactly replicate a building that was built in 1910. There's different materials, there's different design. It's just a different world,
Right. Right.
which is why the
Makes sense.
old houses have so much value, especially if you go to places like Connecticut and in the South where they have these beautiful old homes because you can't really rebuild them exactly like they were.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's the cost replacement approach. And remember this for me. It
Okay.
worked for better for new buildings, not old. Okay.
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 So as we're bumping right along, we have these two approaches. What do they have in common?
Um, they have to do with the income,
Good.
money.
Yeah, it got to do with
Hmm.
money. So which one do you want to tackle first?
Uh, Capitalization approach.
Okay, so what do you know about that one?
Not much.
Okay,
A little bit. I know. Doesn't it have to do with investment properties?
sure.
Like you're trying to understand the value of the property.
Let
Um,
me phrase it to you like this. Okay,
okay.
you want to buy a store. Okay, you're ready to
Mhm.
sell shoes or whatever it is you want to sell. All right.
Mhm.
There's two stores, and you're ready to sell shoes, and you need to buy one of the two stores. One store is selling crazy amounts of what do we call it? Chairs, we'll call it. Selling tons of chairs. The other store is selling no chairs. All right, they're selling chairs. You want to sell shoes, but they're selling chairs. Okay?
Mhm.
Which store has more value to you? The one that's selling a lot of chairs or the one that's selling no chairs?
A lot of chairs.
Why? You're not selling chairs, you're selling shoes. So why do you care?
Because more means more value.
Well, because in your perception, you're saying, you know what, I'm not selling chairs, I'm selling shoes. But they got a lot of traffic, they're doing a lot of business. So to me, there's good stuff going on that property. I'm not going to sit
Mhm.
here and evaluate the chair business, but I know people. And I know that building has a lot of foot traffic or something, and they're generating a lot of income. Okay?
Mhm.
So that income has value to you, correct?
Correct.
So the capitalization of income approach converts income into value.
Mm.
And it's not that simple in real life, but it is for your exam. And your exam's tomorrow, so let's keep it simple. Agreed?
Okay.
Right. So basically, and I don't know if that was the best example for real life, but I'm really trying to make the point that you pay more for a building that generates a lot of money, even if you're not doing the exact same thing that the people in that building are doing. But for you, you're saying, you know, it's got a proven track record of having successful businesses in there. So I'm all about
Mhm.
that one. I'll pay more for that. Correct?
Mhm. Mhm. Definitely.
Good. Now here we have gross rent multipliers. Help me out with this one. What do you think?
Oh gosh, that's the hardest one for me.
Do you want to invest in properties and have rental income?
Um, yeah.
Okay, good. How do you know which one's a good property to invest in? What do you think?
You have to figure out the value of it, the
Okay, so you got the
cost.
value of the property. Okay,
Uh-huh.
sounds good. But if you have $1 million property and it only brings in $10 a month, is that a good
Mhm.
deal?
No.
If you have $1 million property and brings in $100,000 a month, is that a good deal?
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, it's not necessarily the value of the property that is desirable. And it's not necessarily the rent. Okay?
Mhm.
What is what you just described as valuable, when I described that $1 million in the amount of rent, is price as it relates to rent, or price divided by rent.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So you care about that relationship between the value of the property and the rent amount. And that gives you a number called a gross rent multiplier. Does that make sense?
Yes. And there's like a number range, right? And
There
so
is.
there's certain.
See, annual figures anywhere from 5 to 20. Monthly are more like 80 to 140.
Okay.
You see why?
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
Because.
Because
Mhm.
the number is just going to be higher. It's essentially
Number.
price divided by rent. But that key
Mhm.
part is it's all it is the price divided by rent equals a gross rent multiplier.
Okay.
Right. And if you want more clarification, I do have a video on this, gross rent multipliers. Just Google it, gross rent multiplier prep agent. Excuse me, look it up on YouTube. I've started to use it
Okay.
Google. That's another word for search. So prep agent on YouTube, just look up gross rent multiplier and you'll see it there. I do a full video on it.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's move on. What's depreciation?
Um, wear and tear on a property that
Mm,
depreciates it, lowers it in value,
oh, that's a good one.
or
Loss in
loss.
value. Okay, when you
I
say
guess it's
wear and
anything that's
tear,
lost in value.
That's a type of depreciation. What type of depreciation is wear and tear?
Um, ooh, can't remember the name of it now. Remind me of the name. Oh, physical deterioration.
Good.
Okay. All right.
All right. What's this one?
When you have 4 bedrooms and 1 bathroom or something that doesn't make it functional to live
Excellent.
in.
Good.
1 car garage.
One car garage, all that kind of stuff. Excellent.
Uh-huh.
What's this one?
Um, Things outside the home or like in your neighborhood, things that you can't or that you can't fix.
Excellent. Good. Outside the property lines. Nice work. So it looks like you got that one nailed down.
Yes, I feel comfortable with that.
Different subject. What's that? Negative amortization.
When you're not fulfilling the loan
No.
to
So what is amortization?
when you fulfill a loan.
Okay, so negative amortization. Um, Let me phrase it like this. You take out a loan for $10, right?
Uh-huh.
And I charge you $2 interest a month. Okay?
Okay.
But you only pay me $1 a month. What's happening to your debt?
Mm-hmm. The interest is higher than
So what's happening to your debt every month?
it's getting higher and higher, so
Getting
it's
higher. Because
negatively amortized.
right, that's negative amortization. Okay?
Okay.
Debt goes up. So people who do this really
Okay.
only do it for very short periods of time, and they probably have intention of selling it before that debt gets too high.
Uh-huh.
So negative amortization just means that you're not covering the debt. You're not covering the interest.
Okay.
So instead of your payments going down, right, it's going up. Where if you did a straight note, to use that example, if you borrowed $10 from me and I charge you $2 interest, how much are you paying every month? In a straight
Depends how long you have the loan for,
With a straight note,
right?
you would just be paying the $2.
Oh, it's just the interest.
Right. Exactly. Okay? Be interest
Okay.
only. So if you look at a graph, a negative amortization, the line would go up. A straight note would be a straight line across.
Okay.
All right? Whereas a fully amortized loan would have a nice line that goes down.
Okay.
Okay? What's a balloon loan?
There's like a balloon payment. There's a large payment that comes due at once.
Right. Good. Excellent. What's interest?
A percentage of what you owe.
Okay? I like to
It's a
call it
charge.
rent on money. You like that
Yes.
term?
Yes. Charge for borrowing.
Exactly. Exactly. Perfect.
Okay.
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 Oh, FHA. Who do they insure?
Lenders.
Bam. That's a big one that comes up on exams. Okay, because you got to
Okay.
know FHA is there to insure lenders. It's not there to insure the borrower. It insures the
Uh-huh.
lender so the lender could give you a better deal.
Uh-huh. Okay.
All right. Why does FHA even exist?
To help protect the lenders
Right. Well, I tell the
from
story a lot,
risky buyers.
and let me tell it again real quick. We'll do the quick version. Okay.
Okay.
1934. What was going on? So
Great Depression.
excellent. So 1920s was Babe Ruth hitting run, home run, swing dancing, all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Everything that goes up must come down. So 1930s, you had the Depression. Okay,
Uh-huh.
people couldn't buy homes. The
Uh-huh.
rich got richer, the poor got poorer. It was a country full of renters. Because to be able to buy a home, you needed this massive down payment, and usually the loans were 7 years long, which meant interest was crazy. It was hugely large. It was very difficult for your average person to buy a home. And as you know, if you rent all the time, as you know, as you are renting, it's hard to build wealth, which is
Uh-huh.
why a lot of people eventually want to buy.
Right.
So the government said to the banks, you got to lend money. Banks were like, no, they're poor. They can't pay the down payment. And if we lend them money, they'll never get back to us. So we'll go out of business. And
Mm.
the government
Okay.
said, this is horrible. You got to lend money. Banks were like, no. The government said, tell you what, we'll insure you from loss. Okay. Under a few conditions here. We're going to qualify the borrower. All right. You got to take a much lower down payment, like 3%. And instead of the 7-year stuff, make it 30 years. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which would lower the interest rate and your average person could borrow money. Everybody wins, right?
Right.
But there was a problem. Dum. So by the way, what I just described is the birth of the FHA. Okay, that's why the FHA came. It was a way to kickstart us out of the Great Depression by making the
Uh-huh.
down payments lower and making the interest rates a little lower because they extended over a longer period of time.
Okay.
But here's the problem. Banks were used to getting money back in, a very short time. They got these big down payments, they can lend it again. But now they
Uh-huh.
lent money in a house, but they weren't getting the money back for 30 years. So what problem did it
Right.
create for the bank?
They ran out of money.
Right. Somebody say, could I borrow money? I want to buy a house. And the bank would have to say, can you wait 30 years? We don't have any money. So some
Right.
investors in good old Wall Street said, hey, we got an idea. We don't need the money right now. Tell you what, we will buy those loans for you and sell them to investors. And the banks were like, great, we'll use that money to loan money. And the investors bought the loans and it had a much more longer term gain. What am I
Uh-huh.
describing?
The secondary mortgage market. That's exactly.
Excellent. So what I just
Mm-hmm.
described to you is the secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is the resale marketplace of loans.
Mm-hmm.
How's that sound?
Perfect.
Okay, good. Did you like that story?
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's totally true.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful.
All right. Was that even true? Just make that up. Like, doesn't matter. Pass, right? I'm like, are you gonna pass or not?
Yeah, I think I've heard you use that example before too, so it
Okay.
is
By the way,
helpful.
everybody out there in YouTube land, that was actually true. I didn't make that up. There was a depression. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
that's true.
What's a listing?
It is an agreement with an agent
Oh
and a seller
no.
or a broker.
Oh, thank you. Good. To do what?
To find a ready and willing and able buyer.
Nice. Bilateral, unilateral contract.
Bilateral.
Nice. Bilateral contract. Find a buyer. It's a bilateral contract. Good. What are
Uh-huh.
you hired to do? You said find a buyer. Man, you nailed it on that one. Nice work.
Right.
Okay, so I think we should bang through this really quickly because you knew that right off the bat. What's an exclusive listing?
Um, it's a listing, well, exclusive agency listing is with one broker.
Mm, 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 mm.
What's exclusive listing? Is with one.
Broker. Good. So you were actually overthinking it. You were doing really well.
Okay.
Exclusive
And then
agency is a
exclusive,
type of exclusive listing.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Exclusive agency is one broker,
Mhm.
but the seller can also sell the house and not owe a commission.
Good.
Broker
Which leaves the right to sell to which?
themselves.
What does this one mean? The exclusive authorization and right to sell.
That there's one broker, and no matter who sells the property, including this seller, the broker gets a commission.
Good. What's the opposite of an exclusive listing?
Uh, a net listing or an open listing?
There you go. Boom.
Open.
Open listing. What's that?
Or anybody. It's free for all. Any broker.
Whoever brings the buyer gets paid.
Yes.
What's a net listing?
Net listing is when you get the commission that's over the asking amount. So if it's $500,000 that the seller would like for the house and you sell it for $550, then you get $50,000
Why is that a bad idea?
because it's fraudulent.
Not
Because
fraudulent.
if it,
It's
well,
illegal in a lot of states, but why? Like, why is it such a bad idea?
it's unethical, more or less. Because if I have a buyer that comes and is ready to pay $500,000 and I pass up on it, then the seller, they still have, or they still have their home, and I'm still wanting to get paid. So,
Right. So basically what you're saying it's a conflict of interest sometimes. Because as you said,
mhm.
if the offer comes for $500,000 and this guy selling his home only wants $500,000, he's like, great, accept the offer. But you don't want to present
Uh-huh.
an offer because for all fairness to you, you're like, wait, I just did all this work and I'm gonna get nothing. You know,
Right. So
this
I'm going to
isn't
still keep looking.
right. And what it could do is violate your fiduciary duty.
Hmm.
Okay? So it makes it very difficult because you could be put in a situation where in order to honor your fiduciary duty, you may get no money.
Right.
So a lot of states just don't even allow them, make it illegal.
Right.
Okay, what's this?
If I've been talking with a couple of potential people that want to buy the seller's home, but it doesn't happen until after our agreement has ended, then there's a protection period clause saying that if I still was the
Nice.
procuring cause, that
Yeah, that's
they
good
still,
stuff. All right,
so I still get paid.
what's this?
Um,
Deposit. What's
a
that?
deposit down on a house, it's a percentage
Does it have to
that
be a
makes you
percentage?
say that you're, huh?
Does it have to be a percentage?
No, I shouldn't say percentage.
Okay, so what is it then?
Showing that you're serious about the property and
Okay, so good.
anything.
It's showing you're serious about your property. It's anything of value. Okay, and the analogy I use all the time is I say to you, you're married, you know what you are, and your husband proposed to you. What did he use to propose for you?
The ring.
The ring, which is like a deposit. Because it says, I'm
Right.
serious. And I often would say, if
Hmm.
your husband said, Colleen, I want to marry you, and you were like, okay. If he didn't have the ring, what would you say? You,
You want to hope that he's serious about it, I guess.
you'd say, that's great. I want to marry you too, but you better do this proposal over again, man. Now, right? You would say,
No, but
you get my point. You wouldn't be too thrilled
yes,
about
I
it.
get your point.
Right.
Yes.
You would say, seriously? Right? That's kind of I've been waiting for this proposal for a year, and seriously, that's what you do, you know? So
Uh-huh.
you
So
want
yeah, so it
something.
shows that you're serious.
Yes, exactly. Shows you're serious.
Mhm.
What's puffing?
Okay. Exaggerating.
Good. Excellent. All right. Actual fraud?
When you knew that you were being fraudulent,
Constructive fraud?
you accidentally committed fraud
Without knowledge.
without knowledge.
Yeah, you're lying without knowledge.
Hmm.
What are the four essential elements of value?
They are stud,
Okay, what does that stand for?
scarcity, transability, utility, and demand.
Are you cheating? Are you looking at your notes?
A little bit, but I do know stud.
I heard a piece of paper float there for a
A
second.
flip.
Yeah, you cheater. Okay,
Yeah, I just want to make sure there.
all right. What's plottage?
I was just reading about this. Plottage is a large area of a subdivision. It's when it's expanding.
Am I really bad at math by writing 1 + 1 = 3? Or am I making a point?
Maybe, maybe.
Or is there
Not
a
your
point
strong
I'm
suit. It's
trying
okay.
to is there a point I'm trying to make with it? What do you think?
Oh,
1 + 1 = 3. What
explain.
okay. If I have a parking lot and there's no mall, can you make money off that parking lot? Sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I have a mall and there's no parking lot, can you make money at that mall, that shopping center? Sure, I
No.
guess so. I mean, you could, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
like meh. But now, if I combine the parking lot and the shopping center, what happens now?
You have both.
The
Best of both worlds.
value of both of them go through the roof because they
Uh-huh.
complement each other. Individually, can they make money? I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
But without the shopping
Mm-hmm.
center, there's not a lot of reason for people to go to the parking lot. Without the parking lot, there's not a lot of place for people to park so they could go shop. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
people could use them, but it's difficult. But if you combine them, one plus
Better.
one equals three.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Individually, they're both worth one, to use my example. Combining them,
Uh-huh.
they're worth a lot more than two. They're worth three.
Uh-huh.
That's
Perfect.
bondage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. What's a deed?
It's showing the transfer of title.
Good. Evidence of transfer. Title?
Title is ownership.
Okay, Colleen. What's a freehold estate? What do you think?
Freehold is when you own a home for an indefinite period of time.
Good. So the word estate has to do with duration of ownership. So freehold's indefinite period of time. Fee simple estate is what?
Uh, it's for indefinite period of time.
That's absolute ownership.
Hmm.
The full name is absolute fee simple absolute.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Feasible defeasible, what do you think?
I'm not sure.
Well, what does the word defeasible look like to you?
Defeat.
Good, that's good. That's what I'm getting at. So the estate will
Okay.
be defeated. So usually there's a condition, and what that's called is a condition subsequent.
Okay.
Okay? So if I put a condition like you can't sell alcohol on the property and you drink alcohol on the property, you could lose the property. You violate a condition.
Uh-huh.
Sound good?
Yes, I remember now.
Okay, good.
Okay.
What's a life estate?
You have it for a lifetime, a period of
Not based on, it can be based on your life, but usually it's based on somebody else's life. You could have that property as long as I'm alive. Okay? That's a life
okay.
estate. So, for example, um, I really want to run a charity. I really want to save whatever dogs, children, whatever charity I want to do. And I could say, you can use it for that as long as I'm alive.
Uh-huh.
Once I die, it's going to go to my kids. Then they're going to have to do whatever they want to do with it.
Okay. And is that an estate in remainder when they
Yes.
when the heirs?
Yes.
Okay.
Well
That's what I
done.
get confused
Well
between.
done. Yeah. The example I use in one of my videos is the knight. So the king has
Yes,
property,
I
and
remember
then
that
he
video.
says, defend me, I am your king. If you do that, I will give you property. As long as I'm alive, you're a rich man. King defends
Uh-huh.
the knight defends the king. If the king dies, then the prince gets the property. The prince is the estate in remainder.
Uh-huh.
If the knight
Okay.
dies, it reverts back to the king. He is the estate in reversion.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. I do remember that video. I should watch it again.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, what's a less than freehold estate?
A lease.
Okay,
Or it's for a definite period of
good,
time.
which is a lease. You're right about that.
Mhm.
Okay, what's an estate for years?
Um, is a lease. It has a definite end to it, and then it's like I know you used the example of summer rental.
Why estate of sufferance means what? What does a state of sufferance mean?
Um, that you've like stayed over your time period.
Right, like a deadbeat tenant.
Mhm.
The landlord is suffering.
Suffering.
Okay. So
Mhm.
estate for years would be like 6 months, or like June 1st to April 1st.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That'd be an estate for years.
Okay.
Okay. Sound good? What's a percentage lease?
That you owe part of the property taxes and
No.
or it's percentage lease when you a part of your gross.
Yes.
If you are renting a place and it's a business, then part of your gross sales, a
Excellent.
percentage of them go towards your rent.
Nice. Percentage of
Okay.
gross receipts. What's a net lease?
A net lease is the one that you have to pay a portion of property taxes and um, maintenance costs,
Excellent.
things like that.
So very often people hear it as a triple net lease because you're
Uh-huh.
referring to taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Okay. Do you
Okay.
sign a net lease, or what kind of lease do you sign at your property right now?
An
What's it
estate
called?
for years
No. So what you have is
or
the gross
periodic
lease.
or gross.
The gross lease, you're just paying the rent, and the landlord pays things like taxes, insurance, and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
So gross lease and net lease are the ones that kind of contradict each other. But to your point,
Okay.
you weren't wrong. You have a periodic tenancy because it's month to month.
Okay.
Let's put that there
Okay.
because you're right. I could have phrased that better
That
for you.
that's all right. That's what was kind of confusing to me too, is that periodic tenancy is it's month to month, but at the same time, like our lease is actually 6 months or a year, what have you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's
Well,
not
what
actually
happens
month to
at the
month
end of that?
periodic.
What happens at the end of that year?
We have the chance to renew
For what? Another year,
month to
or is it?
month.
That's what I'm saying. So you have an estate for years that converts to a periodic tenancy once that contract is done.
Right. Okay.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yes. Perfect.
Got it. All right. So I think we're good to go for now. You got your test
All
tomorrow. Are you
right.
super pumped?
I am. Got to get some rest.
Yeah, so get some rest. And for everybody out there, this is Joe, prep agent. If you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments below on this video. I'm not always correct, so I welcome corrections or things of that nature that you want further insight to. With that being said, good luck, Colleen.
Thank you so much, and thanks so much for all of your help. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You'll do great. This is Joe, prep
Thanks.
agent. Bye.